Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Owen Jones is an horrible little oik, little lefty turd, really, for the want of a better word. Can't stand the man. It's understandable why he keeps getting punched in the face in the street. He really can't help it. The mouth opens and the BS comes out. But he did get it right, you see. He said something which is very surprising given how far left he is, but he actually is bang on. He said that Labour have basically spectacularly and wonderfully lost it. They've lost all sense. They've lost direction. They've lost the trust of the public. They've lost everything. He says, and the best way, he says, is to deal with a mistake is not to make it in the first place. But that, he said, would take political nous. And there seems to be a complete lack of political nous in numbers 10 and 11, because they must look at these policies that they're about to introduce and think, yeah, these are going to be really great, and then do them. Whereas everyone else around them must be pulling their hair out and saying, are you completely mad? There's no way these policies weren't talked about before they were announced. And there's no way people around them said, these policies are nuts, these policies are mad, these policies must not go through. And yet, Starmer and Rachel Reeves are pushing these policies. They're obviously not listening to anyone else. Seems to be these two in cahoots, probably with Sue Gray, the real Prime Minister. And they're doing things which perhaps deliberately designed to destroy the Labour Party. Who knows? And this any common sense, should we say, and any reasoned thought clearly missing, clearly lacking from their brains. The winter fuel payment, I mean, whose idea that was to jettison that, we'll never know. Probably Rachel Reeves. She seems to have it in for old people. And then no impact assessment was done officially. However, 4 years ago, the Labour Party's own internal assessment said 4,000 pensioners would likely die. And then they thought, well, that'll never come to light. Bada bing, comes to light. Now they're forced to do an impact assessment, which they should have done, but they hadn't, because they know what the assessment is going to come back as. And so what will happen is the impact assessment will be done, and then they'll try and gloss over the deaths that it will cause, because now it's an official one rather than an internal one. Or they'll basically lie about it. They shouldn't be in the position of having to do this in the first place. Why? Why are they even considering it? Like I say, it's either they're absolutely dumb or they're doing it deliberately. And if they're doing it deliberately, then they absolutely want the Labour Party to be destroyed. If they do persist, now, there's lots of ways out of it, but if they do persist, they think they're done. The whole party's done. They'll never recover. They'll never recover the elderly vote or the families of the elderly. They're not going to maintain their own votes. You've got to think a lot of Labour Party members, not just voters, but members, are against this. We saw that at a conference where every man jack of them voted against it. And he said, meh, it doesn't matter. The arrogance and conceit of these people at the top, this ruling cabal, knows no limit. They think that they have this a right to do this. They're just appalling people, really, aren't they? Now, if they do reverse this measure, if they do reverse the cut in the winter fuel allowance, that means that they're admitting they got it wrong. And if they have got it wrong, it's they who've got it wrong, as we saw from the vote. And so they must take personal responsibility and they must resign. And that's the invidious position they're in. They either push ahead with a policy guaranteed to destroy the party, or they have to resign. And that is why I think the rumours whirling around Westminster that something is likely to happen. Now, the rumours are it's going to happen today, but it is just rumour. Pinch of salt. Might not happen at all, might be nothing. But the rumour is something is afoot. And we're not talking 12 inches here. There are movements, there are musings, there are whispers. Well, they've gone beyond whispers. There are yells, a chorus of yells now. There's no confidence in Starmer and Reeves. The backbenchers, they've lost them. They've lost them all. They're losing the officials. They're losing the local groups. So up and down the country, the local associations. And the local associations are looking to the MPs who walked into that voting lobby and said aye and voted for it. And they're not happy. And now they're telling their MPs, well, you voted this way. Don't be counting on being selected next time. And now all the little collective Labour anuses are twitching like that because they know it's the local associations that have real power. The local associations can deselect them like that. And will. And that's before you get to the voters. Do the 20% of people in this country who voted for Labour, did they vote for this? Did they hell? And they won't vote for it next time. And if half of them leave, and you can be sure it may well be more than half, but if half of them left, Labour could face an absolute total wipeout in 2029. And I'd pay good money to see that. Because everyone then, it won't be Starmer in charge, but everyone then will look at Starmer and go, this was your fault, buddy. This was your doing. This was your arrogance that got us here. The Labour Party leaders need to grow a spine, take charge, admit they got it wrong, walk out into the public, say they got it wrong, and offer their resignation and walk away. If they do that, the Labour Party may just survive a little bit. The problem is, of course, who takes over. Pro tem, it will be the growler. Angela Rayner, as Deputy Prime Minister, would take over. She wouldn't be the Prime Minister as such. She'd be a caretaker, which, to be honest, is about the limit of her ability, isn't it? You can imagine her standing, probably assistant caretaker in a school. She's the one that gets the brush and has to clear the toilets. That's Angie's limit. Well within her talents. 7 times out of 10. Don't flush now. Leave them big ones. Angie's coming. But who would you select if it wasn't her? Wes Streeting? Please. And that's the trouble. Labour Party have got zero talent. Hey ho, that's why we're in this mess. Anyway, let me know what you think. Thanks a lot. Speak soon. Goodbye.